Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order our meeting today for the Allegheny County Board of Education, Tuesday, April 1st, 2025 at 5:06 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time, Mr. Llewellyn has some closed session summaries to read.
The Allegheny County Board of Education met in closed session on March 11th, 2025 at 2:30 a.m. here at the central office. The purpose of the closed session was to consult with legal counsel, discuss the personnel matter, and engage in administrative function. All 5 board members were present, and the vote to go into a closed session was unanimous. The matters discussed were superintendent search, ethics panel appointment, 4-205C appeal, employee termination, employee investigation, anonymous letter to board regarding an employee. The board met again in closed session on March 18th, 2025 at 10 a.m. at central office, and that was just to discuss a personnel matter. Again, all 5 board members were present. The vote to go into closed session was unanimous, and the topic discussed was superintendent search.
Thank you, Mr. Llewellyn. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Green, a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Lepley. All those in favor? Thank you. Okay, moving right into our superintendent's report, we will have Dr. Bond and also, I believe, Dr. Thompson to represent some of our students for their Math Counts Awards.
Yes, we're here this evening to recognize our middle school students who participate in the annual district math counts competition that will come in shortly. This year we actually hosted the math counts competition after going decades down the road to Hagerstown and more recently to Frederick County. So we hosted it this year at Washington Middle School, February 22nd. We had 7 area schools, 5 from Allegany County, 2 from Washington County that participated. And we were able to forward quite a few students and one of our school teams to the math counts competition. So the representatives that we have here this evening that were participants from Braddock Middle School, Kara Breedlove, their coach, they qualified as a team. Their team members who were able to participate with the team competition were Nolan Pillai, Connor Sheehy, Zachary Llewellyn, and Jacob Cage. Additionally, we had a number of students who qualified as individual participants. Unable to be with us this evening from Washington Middle School were Liam Lindsay, Miles Thomas, Maxwell Shelton. From Mount Savage Middle School, we had 2 students who qualified for states, Joshua Georgeson and Phil Lee. And then lastly, from Westmar Middle School, we had Kaylin Chojar who qualified, and the significance of Kaylin's accomplishment is he's the first student from Westmar who has qualified to move on to the state competition. So for this year, all 4 of our middle schools had students in the state math counts competition.
Proclamation as this month of Mathematics and Statistics Awareness Month in our schools. And congratulations to
Thank you.
You and the
Thank
students.
you.
And we have these. Are these students not here? Or is that different?
They're not here.
There you go. We got these as well. So looks like more weren't here than were here.
Thank you.
Dr. Thompson, I wanted to congratulate your leadership and our advisors, all the time it takes to put in to get our students prepared, and I really want to congratulate our students for being so successful with all 4 middle schools and being able to host math counts for the first time. It speaks volumes of the work we're putting in, and congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
What was your take on hosting it?
Oh, I'm ready to do it again next year.
Yeah.
Oh, it went smoothly. Many of our volunteers were retired teachers, a number of which who were previous math counts coaches, some dating back quite a few years. And we also had the mathematics department of Frostburg State brought some of their faculty and students that also helped as proctors and scorers. So
Nice. What grade, the three that are here, what grades are you in again?
I'm an eighth.
I'm also an eighth.
Seven.
So we have one coming back for next year and two moving on. Huh? What'd you think? I know this isn't your first year. I'm sure this is you've been in it for multiple years. But what do you think of your experience with Math Counts?
Great. It was great.
I would say it's a really fun event to go to.
Yeah, it's very interesting and a good experience for higher level math.
Challenging?
Yes.
Because when we started the program, that was the idea. We wanted to see if we could challenge our top students.
Hesitated a little there.
I know. Hey,
Challenging.
these students are amazing. If you ever will go watch them in action at a competition next year, if it's hosted, if we get fortunate enough to have it here, we can still come. People can still come and see the speed round.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's where all the action is.
Yeah. So congratulations, and congratulations to your folks and support, because you don't do it by yourselves. I know that a lot of home support helps you be able to get to different things. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have a proclamation recognizing April as Library Media Month that Mrs. Woodmeyer will present to Mr. Avey, and then Mr. Avey, you also have an all-state junior course presentation recognition for us, I guess, so you can just stay right there.
Whereas April 2025 has been designated Library Media Month and April 6th through the 12th as National Library Week. The Board of Education has entrusted the library media specialist in each school to teach the skills of locating and using information through traditional resources and new technologies, to provide literature appreciation activities, and to guide and encourage content and recreational reading to every student in the library media program. And lifelong learning begins and is systematically developed through the library media curriculum of the elementary and the secondary schools. Therefore, we, the Board of Education of Allegany County, endorse the observance of the month of April as School Library Month and National Library Week, April 6th through the 12th, 2025, drawn to the library. And from a true bookworm, self-processed bookworm, I'd like to present this to you, Mr. Avey.
Thank you very
What
much.
a wonderful job.
Thank you.
They're not librarians anymore, right? Media specialists.
We can call them library media specialists.
I've met many of them in my life, and they are creative people. I can say that.
Well, this is only my first year as library media supervisor, assistant supervisor. And if you ever want to go to an elementary school and receive a breath of fresh air, walk into the media center of any of the schools. I've observed all of them. And the engagement, the relevant content, even kindergarten students are learning about safe browsing on the internet, safe searches, responsible use of computers, and it's all being taught in an age-appropriate fashion. I'm every time I visit them, I learn, and that's why I envy the students that are in our schools, because of what those teachers offer.
You can go on with the all-state course, and then you're also staying put for the Student Council Award. So just show, Mr. Avey.
I'll try not to take too long. But I would like to point out that a few years ago, it was a tradition at the April board meeting to point out in public the names of the students that successfully auditioned for and performed in an all-state performing group. We used to do this every year. We used to have upwards anywhere between 3 and 6 a year between all-state chorus, orchestra, and band. And COVID-19 happened, and the Maryland Music Educators Association shut that entire program down for 3 years. And on the 4th year, the auditions became virtual, and no one from this system participated. And then we started to see some decline in the enrollment for the high school choral programs, and that we're finally seeing some uptick returning with that regard. And we finally have a high school student that made all-state chorus. I'd like to bring her up for your attention. Charlotte Gomer. Charlotte is a freshman at Mountain Ridge High School, which means she was eligible to audition back in November for all-state junior mixed chorus, which is a chorus for grades 7, 8, and 9. And it auditioned over 900 total singers from all over the state. 135 were accepted into the all-state junior chorus, and Charlotte made the cut for that. And when she auditioned, she had to, you correct me if I'm wrong, when she had to learn some very challenging music, and she had to demonstrate a significant amount of skill at sight reading. And so that's hard to do. And then when she showed up at the event in February 23rd, she had to re-audition to prove that she actually learned the music, the assigned music at home, because they're very, very serious about sending unprepared singers back home if they're going to be a liability to the group. And Charlotte passed that. And then the concert was at College Park, and it was the weekend of February 23rd, and it was a smashing success. And I'm thrilled that we have finally renewed a tradition to bring students back here. Charlotte, in addition to her pursuits as a singer, she's actively involved in many activities at Mountain Ridge High School. She runs cross country, indoor track. She's in the marching and concert band and the drama club. She will be performing in The Wizard of Oz at Mountain Ridge High School next week. Her classroom teacher is Mr. Josh Rupenkamp, and her private teacher is Michaela Dodge. Congratulations. Oh, and one more thing. If you are privileged to make all-state chorus, you get a medal. And she wore her medal tonight. Congratulations, Charlotte. I've no doubt she'll be auditioning for senior high all-state chorus next year.
Charlotte, how long have you been a singer?
I did my first musical when I was 10. I did the Lion King, so 4 years now.
And how many? So you've been in multiple shows on stage singing. You get all this from your mom? I know, Jason. I'm just carrying on. What's your favorite thing of the musicals? What's your favorite part of singing, performing? Besides just musicals, where else do you perform? What else do you? Where do you take your talents?
I do the school concerts. I like those a lot, and then I also just like the musicals. I do them all the time. I'm always in one.
And what are you in The Wizard of Oz?
I'm ensemble in this show.
Great. And you're the only student in Allegany County that's accepted this award. You realize that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Super.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Congratulations. And thank you, Mom and Dad. Well, it brings me. It brings me a great deal of joy to introduce our next presenter. I want to be quick, but there's a lot that I have to say about Kara Kennel and the award that she received just 3 weeks ago. It is known to very few people, in my opinion, from my judgment, that our secondary student council programs and our service learning programs are actually outstanding. They're well run, they're engaging for the students, and every minute of every activity is in keeping with the best interests of our future leaders in Allegany County, which brings me to Kara Kennel. I've been sharing office space for Kara for almost 3 years now, but I was just assigned as her direct supervisor this year, and as a result of that, I discuss the responsibilities that she shoulders and the judgments that she makes almost daily. But the truth is, she's so savvy and experienced and thoughtful in what she does. She needs very little supervision. Anytime I go to an event that Kara organizes, I'm beyond impressed by the pace, the engagement, the teamwork, the educational value, and it's all a result of her thoughtful approach to details and leadership style. She's earned the respect of her subordinate teachers and the mutual respect of her fellow. I've been in the room while she does these Zoom meetings with all of the other student council advisors in the state, and I know that she's earned respect from all of her peers at every level. She's very well respected among the student council members. Caden Ogden, student council officer, is here and we asked, why are you here? I'm here for you, Kara. That's what he said, and I was rather touched by that. Guest presenters are impressed by her work. They always want to come back year after year and work with her again. She's poised for every problem and every responsibility, thanks in no small part to over 23 years of experience working directly with the Maryland Association of Student Councils. Now, if I would have told her that I was working with teachers to nominate her for an award, she's so humble. She would have said, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. So we did the honorable thing, and we did it behind her back. And 3 weeks ago, she was awarded the Karen Crawford Regional Advisor of the Year Award. And I think it's overdue. And to be honest with you, as a daily witness to her work ethic, her problem-solving ability, her long-term and short-term planning, and her overall friendly demeanor as she facilitates teachers and students, Kara could win this award every single year. And I'm proud to finally admit this in public. Congratulations, Kara. And she has an award to make.
Now, if I could just jump in really quick, because I've got to tell you, Kara and I go back over 15 years. I was on at Casey as a student in Allegany County. I was alternate student member of the board, involved at the school level and class level. And I've got to say, Mr. Avey, you are absolutely right. Ms. Kennel had such a tremendous impact on my life and so many others. Her leadership made a truly lasting impact, and again, such a well-deserved honor. So thank you so much. I'm so glad to get to be here and see firsthand the work you continue to do. But I wanted to say that.
Come down to her office and see the award. It's a nice plaque.
I absolutely will.
A nice gavel.
Nice gavel. That's right.
I also would like to add to that, I've known Kara a very, very long time. And I remember when you were hired here at the board to do this, I don't think we would ever find a more positive person to be an example for our kids in our school system. I've always known Kara to be, like Mr. Avey said, friendly and positive, and I just have never seen anything but a smile on Kara's face. So Carrie, this is well-deserved, and congratulations. I'm very happy to see you get this.
Thank you.
I feel like I have to jump on the bandwagon then.
Making me emotional.
Because we've been friends since our oldest were like 3 years old and stayed here together. And when you teared up, I teared up. Everything Mr. Avey said is absolutely true. So good job. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I mean, well, I wouldn't even be here without the support of everyone. And that's what I'm always telling them downstate, you know, of all the different things that we can do up there. And they're like, wow, you know, I wish we had that support. So, I mean, we are so fortunate up here to, you know, have awesome, all of you are awesome in supporting our service learning program and the student council. And so we're very fortunate. So thank you so much. And Awen is, unfortunately, she's unable to be here, but she was also recognized in Ocean City as well for the Outstanding Student Leader Award that they, each of the Maryland Association of Student Councils ask each of the school systems to recognize a student who makes a difference through their leadership and extraordinary commitment to improving the school or community while excelling in their academic pursuits. Aowen was the perfect fit for this award, and I wish she was here to hear, but we did recognize her down there. But in addition to being highly involved in our community, she is an exceptional student who is dedicated to her academics in the classroom. She cares about all students and strives to be their best voice to help them be successful in life. She goes above and beyond her duties as student board member and is respected by her peers. As a member of ACPS, Eowyn expresses loyalty to the group and is always courteous of others. Her strongest and most obvious leadership quality is her compassion. She would like other students to learn as much as they can to enhance their leadership skills and become more involved in their community. Eowyn demonstrates dedication and is a positive role model for all ages. She brings fresh ideas, a well-thought-out point of view, and an insight into the lives of many young individuals. Most importantly, she is a true leader, and so like I said, I wish she was able to be here again tonight to congratulate her because it's very well-deserved on being Allegany County's outstanding student leader. And so she was recognized at the state level as well down there, but she goes above and beyond. So I mean, she is wonderful, as you guys have probably been working with her through this year that but it's well deserved. So she definitely.
Kara, I just want to congratulate you on your leadership.
Thank you.
I think we go back to Braddock a long time ago.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I wasn't going to say that, but I thought,
Seventh grade, I
good.
remember.
Yeah, hey, easy. That makes me ancient. But you were an outstanding.
Teachers just walked in to support her.
Yeah. As a student and as an adult, you were an outstanding student, outstanding employee. You were a guarantee hit when you came here. So congratulations, and we appreciate all you do for our students and our system.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is Mrs. Ramsey out there? Okay, Mrs. Ramsey is with us this evening. She has a community school coordinator to recognize, and then also we'll be staying to recognize our Teacher of the Year. And as you finish up with Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Lepley has a proclamation or certificate for that as well.
Thank you. So first of all, thanks for allowing me to highlight the great work of our ACPS community schools. Community schools promote positive, equitable outcomes by promoting students and families with the physical health, mental health, academic, and extracurricular sports needed to thrive. Community schools serve as a hub that brings families, communities, and partners together to remove barriers of learning. Using asset-based approach, community schools strive to strengthen connections to generate improved student outcomes. Maryland continues to prioritize community schools through the Blueprint for Maryland's Future. This landmark legislation designed to improve the quality of education for Maryland students and close achievement gaps. Included in this legislation are a concentration of poverty grants for schools that serve large populations of students experiencing poverty. These grants aim to serve students, families, and the community by establishing community schools. While all of our ACPS schools provide support to students, community schools work in collaboration with community partners, local governments, and other stakeholders to provide wraparound services that address barriers to learning and success. Community schools leverage that power of neighborhoods through asset-based approaches that strengthen connections between home, school, and communities and create change for the people that they serve. I'm very honored to work with 14 of the best coordinators that we have at ACPS. And I'm loving this new challenge and new opportunity with this role. So on Wednesday, March 26th, a team from our very own ACPS was invited to Towson. Towson now has a university program centered around Maryland community schools. And upon the closing of the conference, our very own Autumn Simons was honored as the Western Maryland champion of community schools. So all of the counties from Frederick west were in this category. There were 25 total nominees across the state, and the selection committee noted the abundance of nominations from school staff, parents, students, and community partners. They noted Autumn's work with attendance field trips, where she selects students monthly and treats them to a field trip that they've earned somewhere in the community. She also established Wednesday night clubs for Legos, literacy, robotics, cooking, fitness, and art. She also has worked with Maryland Extension Office to create a gardening program that helps educate and address food insecurity, as well as growing these fresh foods. The fresh foods not only serve the GC community, but also the local pantry as well. So those were the highlights that Towson recognized and ultimately selected Autumn for this award. So it's my great pleasure to introduce to you our very own Western Maryland Community Schools champion, Mrs. Autumn Simons.
Thank you very much. This is my 5th year as the community school coordinator at Georges Creek, and it's an extra special role for me. I have grown up in Georges Creek my entire life. I went through Georges Creek Elementary. My children are currently in Georges Creek Elementary, so this job is more than a job to me. I love it. I love every part of it, and I appreciate the nomination and recognition. Though it's not usually my thing to be in the spotlight. I like to behind-the-scenes work much more. But thank you.
Congratulations, and we appreciate all the hard work you've been doing over the years. And now the program has grown and grown and grown. So having a coordinator now to oversee and help, because I know when we first started, we were trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So hopefully it gets more and more structured, and that helps the coordinators be able to do even more, hopefully.
Yes,
So
I think, and just the last couple months, it's amazing the difference that you can see and feel having Jenny's role.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful.
But congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so more good news. So now our Teacher of the Year. So this role I have been doing for 6 years, and I love it every year. I get to work with the best teachers in the county every day, and it's so special to be a part of coordinating the efforts to select our Teacher of the Year, because we know that we have the best teachers in the state. We know this. So I'll go over a little bit about the selection process and how we ultimately selected this year's Teacher of the Year. So each December, we begin the nomination process. This is a school-based process. Every school may have a nominee. And then that individual, the teacher, can seek recognition countywide, ultimately, with the goal of being the state teacher of the year. So they work really hard on a professional binder with questions predetermined by MSDE. Through that binder, we were able to narrow down. This year we had 14 teachers recognized, and we narrowed it down to 5 finalists. So those finalists were Brenda Bauer from Cresaptown, Katie Everly from Bell, Brian Hansel from Allegany, Kelly Miller from Flintstone, and we were able to announce our winner through the interview process of the combined portfolio and an in-person interview. And our winner this year is from Braddock, Mrs. Jeanette Milburn. So I have a bio for you to showcase all of the great things in the minimum 100-word requirement. So this was hard because Jeanette works so hard every day for our students in Allegany County. Jeanette is a dedicated educator with 12 years experience fostering student success in Allegany County. She earned her master's degree in curriculum and instruction with a STEM specialization from Frostburg State University in 2021, as well as a bachelor's degree in elementary education in 2011. Her accolades include the 2022 Honorary Award of Excellence in Curriculum and Instruction from FSU and the 2023 Curriculum Associates Extraordinary Educator Award from Ready Math. She has taught elementary students and is currently a 6th grade mathematics teacher at Braddock Middle School. Beyond teaching, Jeanette also leads Students Helping Other People organization at Braddock, and she also goes to MSDE and brings back all the great knowledge of best practices through math instruction, and she provides that to our local educators. So it's with great pleasure. Congratulations, Mrs. Jeanette Milburn, as our new Teacher of the Year.
Good evening. It is an honor and a privilege to stand before you tonight as the 2025-2026 Allegany County Teacher of the Year. I'm deeply grateful for this opportunity to represent our incredible educators and to continue advocating for the diverse students that we serve each day. This recognition is not simply a reflection of my work, but a celebration of the collective dedication of my colleagues, my mentors, and most importantly, my students who inspire me daily. Throughout my teaching journey, I've had the privilege of witnessing the brilliance and the resilience of our students. They come to our classrooms with unique experiences, perspectives, and strengths that enrich our school communities. From multilingual learners who bring the gift of multiple languages to students who persevere through challenges with unwavering determination, every child has a story worth celebrating. It is our responsibility as educators to create spaces where each student's voice is heard, valued, and empowered. Some of my most cherished moments as a teacher come from watching students embrace the power of their own voices. I've seen the quiet student find confidence through a math discussion, the struggling learner experience the joy of a breakthrough, and classmates rally around one another to celebrate successes both big and small. These moments are a reminder that growth is not always linear, but it's always possible when students are given the support, encouragement, and belief they deserve. In my own classroom, fostering a culture of belonging has always been at the heart of my teaching. I strive to ensure that every student sees themselves reflected in our learning. By encouraging mathematical discourse and critical thinking, I have seen students grow not only in their academic abilities, but also in their confidence to question, reason, and contribute. It is this empowerment that turns learning into a lifelong journey. As Allegany County Teacher of the Year, I'm committed to expanding this impact beyond my classroom walls. I will continue to advocate for equitable educational opportunities, ensuring that every student has access to the resources, support, and inspiration they need to thrive. I will work alongside my fellow educators to promote culturally and linguistically responsive practices, creating inclusive learning environments where all students can succeed. Additionally, I hope to collaborate with families and community partners, knowing that when we work together, we create stronger pathways for student success. Furthermore, I will remain dedicated to uplifting the voices of our students and families, partnering with them to better understand and meet their needs. True educational excellence is achieved when we embrace the diversity of our community and recognize it as our greatest strength. Thank you once again for this incredible honor. I am proud to serve Allegany County Public Schools and to stand as a representative of the passionate and dedicated educators who work tirelessly to make a difference. Together, we continue to inspire, support, and champion every student, ensuring they know that their dreams are within reach. Thank you.
Congratulations. How would you think of the experience?
So far, it's been a great benefit to me as an educator. I've got to meet with past ACPS Teacher of the Years and collaborate with them, and so I'm excited for this adventure.
Well, we appreciate you being willing, because when I talk to Dr. Stewart and other leaders within our system, it's just a matter of time. So we appreciate you being the face for us for the upcoming school year, and thanks for all your hard work and all the things you do and help with collaboratively working with our colleagues so we can continue to improve. So thank you.
And on behalf of the Board of Education, we'd like to present to you a token of our appreciation for all your hard work and dedication. And thank you so much, and congratulations.
Congratulations, Mrs. Milburn. If any of you want to leave, you are welcome to now. I can see there's a few faces that want out of here. It's okay, you may go. If you don't want to stay for a budget. Okay, at this time, Mr. McKenzie is going to present on the operating budget.
That's great, man. And actually, I think I'm going to need your help clicking through for me. Okay. Perfect. All right, so thank you very much. We've kind of talked previously about the budget process, and as I'd shared before, this is a pretty unique year. I still don't know what's going to happen down at with the legislature and what will get passed, what won't get passed. So we've provided kind of the best estimates and best guesses based upon where we're at this particular point in time. So let's start with this is the agenda. So we're going to talk about the budget priorities that you all had set for us as we developed the superintendent's budget. We're going to look at some considerations within the budget as well as assumptions, and then we're going to look at some of the draft data. So these should look familiar. These are your board priorities. I won't kind of go back through those. You've kind of set those for us, and this basically became the backbone for how we put the budget together. This represents what you as a board, what your role is, and this has been codified within the annotated code of COMAR. So you can see that with the advice of the local superintendent, the local board is responsible for preparing the school system budget in accordance with state statutory and regulatory requirements for submitting its budget to the county government. In addition, the local board sets the parameters for employee compensation and other terms of the pending collective bargaining agreements, identifies educational goals and objectives for the superintendent to implement, and engages the public in identifying those budget priorities that we just talked about. Okay. So I kind of talk about this every year, and it's important to realize that, especially in a year like this where things continue to get tighter, we can't bond debt. We can't levy taxes. We're almost or raise revenues basically on our own. We're kind of at the we have two main funding sources: the state and locals.
The state provides revenues based upon our enrollment demographics and our relative wealth. We are currently, and we've talked about wealth in the past and how that influences our state aid. Currently, we sit we're out of the 24 districts, that's 23 counties plus Baltimore City, we're ranked 22nd in relative wealth per pupil. So what that means is the state funds the majority of our budgets, okay? In this case, about not quite 75%. Local governments is obligated to fund their local districts annually as well, and that is also codified as well. So the other big thing to kind of keep in mind in terms of considerations, we have to set forth a budget that's balanced. We're not the federal government. We can't run up trillions of dollars in deficits. We have to live within our means. So the budget that you're going to see tonight kind of allows us to do that. I'm also going to share some enrollment considerations as well. Typically, we have a state aid review as well as part of the process. This year, with so much uncertainty, we decided not to do that. But our aid, as I mentioned, is impacted by our relative wealth as well as enrollments. So we did have a slight drop in enrollments of 60.25 kids. So our total enrollment now that for K to 12 that we're receiving aid on is 7,635 students. You'll also recall that we are a total CEP district, district-wide CEP now, but the free and reduced meal eligibility is still a key consideration for our compensatory ed state aid. So how that's computed, and again, this year we had a slight decline, 1.44% or 69 students. So for districts that are CEP, basically they go back to the year prior to you becoming CEP, and that's what they base your free and reduced meal percentages upon. We've had a couple other increases this year. Our multilingual learners increased from 38 to 46 this year, so that's a 21% increase. Another large increase related to the special education population, which increased again this year after a significant increase last year. So we went to from 1,316 students last year to 1,462, so that's an 11% increase, and that was on top of an increase of about the same the year before. So in the past 2 years, our special education population and students with requiring special needs has increased nearly 22%. Okay, and so in terms of our revenue assumptions, and again, as we go through this, revenues and expenses have to match. So you'll see that we have we'll be requesting from county government $35,139,284. And again, because we don't know exactly what's going to happen within the legislative session, that number includes at this point $1,354,195, which represents an estimated teacher pension passback. Latest we've heard is that number could be about $600,000 less. And again, in this case, there's a revenue and a corresponding expense on the expense side of the budget. State revenues are almost $103 million. You can see that that's a slight increase of $132,000 compared to last year. As I mentioned, that's about $1.7 million less than current law. So we've kind of considered what we think is going to come out of the legislative session, and so we're estimating about $1.7 million less than based upon law. So if nothing were to have changed, the almost $103 million would have been $1.7 million higher. Within other revenues, you can see there's a slight reduction, an estimated reduction of 8.7%. What's really driving that reduction is we're anticipating interest revenue on the cash that we're able to carry at the Board of Ed to go down slightly. So the majority of that decline relates to interest being pulled back, being pulled back as the Fed. We anticipate the Fed to lower rates. This budget also shows us utilizing $3 million from our fund balance to help balance the budget. As I mentioned, the expenses and revenues have to match. So in order to do that this year, we are dipping into our fund balance, and it's primarily being driven by healthcare costs. Is what's kind of driving that particular increase. Within our budget, we've kind of broken down things into personnel assumptions and non-personnel assumptions. So whenever we start with personnel assumptions, the budget as presented does meet the original contractual obligations set forth with our 4 bargaining units. Okay. Within this budget, we were also able to move some funds from unrestricted to restricted funds. So the middle school after-school programs will continue. They're just going to be paid with a different funding source. To help combat the increase within the special education students, this budget also funds 5 additional special education teachers. We have additional resources as well because of the increasing multilingual learner demographic, so that we're still able to meet those student needs. The issue with the multilingual learners, think of it like this: we have 46 students, but we have 12 different grades in 20-plus buildings. So they're spread out in such a way that it's difficult to to have like a specific teacher cover those children. So it's something that we're able to we meet their needs by through contractual folks kind of helping them. This budget also includes a summer program that was previously funded by CARES, and it's going to be absorbed this year. Then you also notice that transportation costs are increasing slightly, $90,000. We had a slight decrease in the number of non-public placements within special education. Although our population is increasing, we're able to pull that number back a little bit. We also have seen an increase, a pretty dramatic increase in our utilities. So we've budgeted an extra $265,000 in utilities. These next 2 are the bigger items within the budget increases. As I mentioned, the teacher pension pass back, the corresponding, it's basically a pass through. We're getting the monies from the county, and then we're paying those on behalf of the teachers in the board and the county. There's, as I'd mentioned, healthcare costs have continued to rise, even in light of an increase in the current year. We've had a pretty significant increase in our cost sharing between employees and the Board of Ed. That is also going to continue to increase this next year as well. We did reduce, in an effort to help balance the budget, we did pull back on the number of capital projects. They've been reduced by $340,000. I know the principals submit within their budget request a lot of requests, probably numbering in the millions. So we're going to do the best we can with the $450,000 that we have and prioritize those needs. And a couple good things: we do provide for the continuation of the outdoor school programs. So those will continue. As I mentioned previously, summer school for ESY, as well as regular summer school programming for select students will continue as well. The budget also allows for level funding for school level supply allocations. So if a school was getting a certain amount of funding last year for supplies for their students, they're going to get a flat funded amount this year. We've also increased slightly the funding for staff development opportunities as requested to meet some blueprint obligations and blueprint requirements. And just remember, that we tried to do all this, as I mentioned earlier, based upon the parameters and the priorities that you all have set for us. So this is to just graphically, we report basically two different ways to the state, and we report in objects and we report in categories, and I'll be brief. So the objects that we report are salaries and wages, and of course that's exactly what it is, salaries and wages. Contractual services represent things that we have to outsource to be able to have done for the system. For instance, if we have to have electrical work that's outside of the scope that our maintenance department can do, we're contracting those jobs. Supplies and materials, again, very similar. Those are supplies and materials. Other charges represent utilities. It also takes into account any travel, those types of items. Equipment and buildings, again, those are additions. Equipment we categorize as anything over $1,500. Transfers, that's where we put the non-public placements. That's where those kids go. They're considered a transfer as they're outside of our normal operations. And then last but not least is fixed charges. And you can see that fixed charges, between fixed charges and salaries and wages, that represents the largest portion of our budget, those two together. In fact, they represent 81.34% of our budget this year as presented. So, we're in a very heavy people industry, let's say. Obviously, we have 700 plus teachers, instructional assistants, cafeteria workers, custodial staff. So you can see we're very heavy people oriented. The other way we report our budget is based upon categories. So you can see administration is just that. That's the finance department, that's the superintendent's office, that's you all, any expenses that you all have, as well as HR. Mid-level administration represents the principals, the supervisory staff, the instructional supervisory staff here. Instructional salaries are just that. So the next three represent instruction. So you can see the instructional salaries are for teachers, instructional assistants, the people within the classroom itself. Textbooks and instructional supplies are pretty simple. And other instructional costs are basically any instructional costs that aren't salaries and wages or textbooks and instructional supplies. Special education, again, are students with IEPs and require special needs. Student personnel, that's where we keep our pupil personnel workers. Health services represents, it's mostly contractual services where that's where we contract with the health department, our nursing population. Transportation, again, that's where our expenses relating to the buses, et cetera. Currently about 75% of our bus fleet is contractor owned. We own the other 25%. Operations represents several different groups. It's the custodial staff, There's a piece of IT staff in there as well as all of our security staff, okay? And we do have security at all of our schools. Maintenance maintenance is the staff that basically take care of the bigger systems within the buildings. We talked a little earlier about fixed charges and what they represent. You can see a slight increase there in food services expenses. Again, those are the expenses that we're paying on behalf of our food service fund. So the health, that's tied directly to the healthcare increases that we have in the budget as well. So this again is just a graphical portrayal of the categories that you've seen that we talked about. Okay, and this represents the increases to revenues. So you can see we're actually going to be increasing 3.1% with a 3.8% increase from the county appropriation, what we're going to be asking from the county. Again, the largest portion of that, of the $1,270,000 is over $1,300,000 actually, $1,354,000 for the teacher pension passback. And then down at the bottom, you'll see, again, we're utilizing fund balance of $3 million to fill in our budget gaps this year. Okay, so some additional kind of considerations. As I said earlier, we got another week of the session, the legislative session. They're starting to figure things out, let's say. But there's still, it can still go a lot of different directions. The only other thing I would say is there's probably also going to be a shift in the rank and makeup of our Title I schools, which could also have an impact on our budget as it's presented. So more to come on that. So, does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. I know, I'm sorry, this is probably one of the longest meetings we have. Obviously, it's a very important subject that we're covering. I just want to say that as a new board member, I had the opportunity to sit down with Mr. Blank and Mr. McKenzie and were really blown away by the level of detail and knowledge you have about our budget and what you were able to answer. I apologize to Ms. Lepley. She was in that meeting with me. It was a long meeting with a lot of questions. But I want to highlight a few key things because I know some of that can be a little tough to take in as a member of the public. And, you know, I think it's important to recognize that through Mr. Blank's leadership and the work of the finance team, you know, Allegheny County schools are not really facing the sort of the same level of fiscal uncertainty and crisis that some other schools districts in Maryland are facing. Like you said, we've actually done some great things like, you know, that CARES funding going away. We're still able to offer those extended school year services. You know, I think it creates a really strong foundation for our student success, for the district success, and also for an incoming superintendent. So I just want to take a moment to thank you for all of that work. I know it's a very long process, but thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, and I did have one other question. I know this is late breaking, but do we know how any of the federal government's move to take back the $400+ million in COVID-19 recovery funds? It might be 360. I've seen some different numbers. Is that going to impact Allegheny County?
It was 418 this morning.
Yeah.
So the latest and greatest. So what I can tell you is that my colleagues and I have a CFO call tomorrow at 11 where we're going to get some additional information. We don't think there's going to be much of an impact for us here in Allegheny. We had our last payment for work that was done for CARES 3 funding that was done at Braddock. That last payment was actually made March 14th. We sought reimbursement for that this morning. The way the windows open for being reimbursed from the state, the windows only are open from like the 1st to the 10th. So whenever we paid that on the 14th, today would have been the first time we could have sought reimbursement. So to my knowledge, I think that's basically the where we would have any risk. So it's certainly not what some of the other districts are facing.
Gotcha. Thank you. Sorry to put you on the spot like that,
No,
but I appreciate your context.
Well, I have another one to put you on the spot, because I haven't seen or heard anything, but have you heard anything as far as the CEP funds coming down from the federal level with the lunches? Like, will any of that be in jeopardy in the future? We think we're okay?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've been
I'm sorry.
trying to pay attention, and I
Yeah.
haven't heard it specifically
Yeah,
either.
that I have not heard.
You know all things Larry, so you may have heard something.
Sorry.
Are there any other questions for Mr. McKenzie? Okay. We will,
I just want to take a minute and thank him before you vote. I just want to thank you and your staff, all the hard work, and to echo the level of detail. You're so transparent. So congratulations on being able to present tonight and have it to you and your staff.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.
yeah, we have a spot to vote under new business, so we'll wait to vote till then. Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. We appreciate all your hard work. At this time, we will move into hearing of constituents. We ask that the public limit any comments to 5 minutes, and topics that are excluded are individual personal issues, identifying students or staff members, matters that are on appeal or may be appealed, topics for which the board schedules formal public hearings, and any advertising or solicitation of services. We do have one individual signed up to speak. Is there still a Donnell Keach?
I'm so sorry I signed her to speak at the longest.
You're okay. We've had longer. It just hasn't been lately, so.
Here, I'll only take three minutes, yeah. I was here at your meeting in February and was pleased to start to get to learn about the superintendent search. So watch you take action that evening on investing in a national search utilizing some services available through a state agency. And then I missed all of March. I was traveling for both work and personal reasons for most of the month. And when I got back, was dismayed to discover that I had missed the kind of the open survey period for inputs. So I just wanted to add my 2 cents here this evening, particularly because when I was here in February, there was another member of the community who spoke out and asserted quite strongly that it was unnecessary for us to look outside our community for our next superintendent. I find that really insulting, the notion that our community, that our students and teachers and our public schools don't deserve the absolute best candidate for superintendent that we could have, and to prejudge a process and imagine that there's no point in looking outside our community. That's no business, no organization would ever conduct a search for talent with that kind of prejudging of the applicant pool. So I just wanted to thank you for conducting a national search, for doing everything within your power to develop the most robust, outstanding pool of candidates that you possibly can, for listening to public and constituent input, so that the students and the parents, the teachers, like we saw tonight, can continue to get just really first-class support for the continuing thriving of our community. Thanks. Was I supposed to introduce myself? I didn't do that.
I said your name, but if you
Okay,
wanna
yeah,
say something else.
Donnell Keach. I'm a resident here of Cumberland. I come from a family full of school teachers, so talking about public education systems was dinner time conversation throughout my childhood, and I'm the parent of 2 graduates of the Allegany County Public School System, so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keach. Is there any board member responses? Okay, we will move on to new business. At this time, is there a motion to approve or a motion regarding the superintendent's operating budget?
I motion that we vote to approve the superintendent's operating budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Bond. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you. And at this time, Mr. Llewellyn will speak about consider first reading of the resident and non-resident student eligibility policy.
What you have before you is policy JFA, which is brand new, and this policy would not be effective until July 1st, 2025. It's as a first reading. Policy committee has worked diligently and continues to work diligently on the regulation to accompany this policy. So we wanted to get the ball rolling. We want to have a resident and non-resident student eligibility policy in place in time for the next school year. So the policy is I think the easier part because hits the bones, but all the sinew and meat will be coming hopefully at your May meeting when you do hopefully the second reading of this policy. So if there's any questions, we're happy to answer them. Otherwise, Policy Committee recommends this policy to you.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve first reading of resident and non-resident student eligibility policy, file JFA.
Thank you, Dr. Bond. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lepley. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Back to Mr. Llewellyn.
You have an existing policy in front of you now, policy JC, school attendance areas. This is hand in glove with the non-resident policy. The very little bit of policy language that exists currently is with policy JC. And so because we are going to be adopting a more full-blown policy for non-resident eligibility, we need to take away what will be conflicting language out of this policy. There will also be a change in the regulation to this policy as well, and that'll come next month. Again, hopefully when we present you with the regulation for the new policy. Happy to answer any questions. Policy Committee recommends that you approve this amendment.
Motion regarding policy file JC.
Motion to approve policy file JC.
Motion by Mrs. Lepley. Is there a second?
Second. Oh.
Linda can have it.
All right, second by Ms. Woodmeyer. Any questions or comments for Mr. Llewellyn? All those in favor? Thank you. Passes unanimously. Moving on to our board member updates. Ms. Aowen was not able to be here this evening, but we do congratulate her on her recognition earlier this evening and look forward to seeing her next month. Are there any other board member updates?
Yes, I have two
Great.
updates. First is on the local advisory council. Again, this is one of the only public opportunities to share these updates, so I apologize for keeping everyone, but the local advisory council for career and technical education met on March 25th at ACM with a focus on expanding apprenticeship and training programs in Allegany County. We received updates from local partners, including IBM, PharmaCare, and the Toasted Goat on their efforts to support apprenticeships in our county. We also heard directly from a current CTE student apprentice with the Maryland State Highway Administration and a former ACPS student who completed IBM's apprenticeship program and now works full-time there as an OpenShift engineer. Their stories were really powerful examples of how these programs are launching real careers for our students. Staff from the Maryland Department of Labor also provided an overview of the Apprenticeship Maryland program and the resources available to support employers. I want to highlight 4 of those programs, just in case anyone that's listening or wants to tune in can take advantage of them. One is the Maryland Apprenticeship Tax Credit, which is up to $15,000 per year in tax credits for youth and adult apprenticeships. There's also the Cadet Program for law enforcement, which grants $2,000 per apprentice and up to $10,000 per year. The Fostering Employment Program, which is one of the most underutilized programs in the state of Maryland. This is specifically for apprentices who are foster youth or unaccompanied homeless youth, ages 16 to 24. There's no cap on this funding, so if you are a small business in Allegany County that's interested in offering apprenticeship and you offer it to foster youth, you can get up to $7,500 per year for up to 4 years. And then finally, a public sector apprenticeship innovation fund, which offers up to $600,000 for public agencies to create apprenticeship programs. I would definitely encourage, I know that ACPS is looking at ways that we can offer apprenticeship programs within the school system, but Allegany County government, City of Cumberland, and Frostburg should also do the same. This is a great opportunity to make a real impact and really help small businesses in our community who otherwise can't support apprenticeship. And then I have one other update. On March 26th, Ms. Lepley and I had the opportunity to attend the Addiction Recovery Simulation hosted by Leadership Allegany and AHEC West at the Allegany County Department of Social Services. This hands-on event offered a powerful and eye-opening look into the challenges individuals face during the transition from addiction treatment to long-term recovery. The simulation was great. There were lots of partners in the community that attended. I thought it was particularly relevant to ACPS as we continue our work to support student and family wellness, expand mental health resources, and build strong partnerships with local agencies addressing addiction and its impact on families. This event reinforced the importance of that. We appreciate the opportunity to represent the board at that event, encourage continued collaboration between ACPS and our community partners to support students and families navigating these complex issues. That's all of my updates.
Thank you, Mr. Green. Dr. Bond?
I just wanted to bring up something that was brought to my attention by a group of teachers. I'd like to make a motion to have our policy committee look at our current cell phone policy to see if it could be amended in such a way that cell phones aren't being used in our classrooms by students and disrupting other classes. So that's my motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all those in favor? We will send that to Policy Committee, which Max and I will be so delighted to work through that one. We don't have to give you a policy update every week because they're always in here, so just know that we work very diligently in there. Any other board member updates? Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn the public session and to resume an executive session to discuss administrative function and consult with legal counsel.
Move to adjourn public session and move back into executive session.
Dr. Bond, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lepley. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you all. Have a good evening.